We just saw A Million Ways to Die in the West, and the way this show works is we'll give you a quick overview of whether we like the movie or not, whether we think you should see it or not, who would like it, and then if you think it's something that you want to go see, go check it out. Stop the review, go look at the movie, and come back and watch the rest of our discussion, and we'll get into more details and possibly into spoilers and that sort of stuff. This movie is terrible, that's all I have to say. Don't bother, the trailer gives it all away. Everything that's funny is in the trailer. Everything that's not in the trailer is kind of boring and dumb and repetitive, and you shouldn't bother with it. What'd you guys think?
I probably wouldn't be quite that harsh about it, but yeah, you're not gonna miss anything if you don't see it. It's kind of just, I mean, what's not in the trailer, the gags they're just strung together by really slow, poor plot. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I probably would not recommend it. I didn't really care for it. And I like Seth MacFarlane and the stuff that he's done, and I think that this was just not a success for him, and sometimes that happens, and so I don't know, like, fans of his might want to check it out, but all in all, it didn't really do much for me.
Yeah. I didn't think it was terrible, and I am a Seth MacFarlane fan, but I just felt like the movie dragged, and I felt like it was really a 45-minute idea rather than a full feature film. So if I didn't like Seth MacFarlane, I probably would have hated this movie. But as it is, I thought there was some good gags. But that's about all I can recommend it for.
So that's our quick overview. If it sounds like a movie that you somehow still want to see, after hearing all four of us basically say don't bother, go see it. Don't let us spoil it. Don't let us ruin it for you. Go and endure it for yourself. So the movie is not... It's not horrible, but there is nothing worse than a bland comedy. There's nothing worse than a movie that has rapid fire jokes in the trailer, and then you go to the show, and it's 4-minute setups to each one of those jokes that could have been done in a minute. So it's a lot of really slow pacing for a bland, boring, you've seen it 100 times story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I pretty much cared nothing about it. Yeah.
You know, every character is a cliche, and that could have been part of the joke. Like, they could have made that part of the humor, but they really didn't. The whole, even the concept of A Million Ways to Die in the West, like, that's maybe a scene or two that they spend on, like, how many things can kill you, and they get creative for a couple of scenes. But for the rest of it, it's him versus Neil Patrick Harris for the first half, and then it's him versus Liam Neeson for the last half. And both of those things are inevitable from the very beginning. He talks his way out of 2 gunfights, and then he has a gunfight at the end that's extremely anticlimactic. And that's it. And
a big shit in a hat moment.
And Patrick Harris, defecates in a hat.
The best part may have been the dream.
Yeah.
That was pretty trippy.
The acid trip.
The animation thing.
I actually thought the best part was Doc Brown.
That was a great cameo.
There was a lot of random... I mean, that was a fantastic cameo.
Yeah.
There was some other... What was it? Who was it at the end when...
Django.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. But I was also...
Jamie Foxx walks up and...
Ryan Reynolds.
That was... Yeah, I liked that.
I didn't quite...
Bill Maher
randomly.
With his cue cards.
All these... and at the end, I'm almost positive during the dream that was Patrick Stewart.
It sounded like his voice.
At the gates, it was Patrick Stewart.
So he just pulled in all these people, so this ridiculous comedy.
Yeah.
I counted 12 deaths in the movie.
Not nearly enough.
No.
So
even if you count all the other ways he listed,
Yeah.
he probably didn't max 100.
Was it me, or did the jokes that were modern day references, but in the Wild West, just not
Seemed
land.
way out of place.
No,
and
just-
it didn't.
Like, what was the thing like?
Well, at one point he mentioned Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's that?" And he's like,
well.
God's way of loving retards or something."
And
I was
think
like, "What?"
I think they probably, because they tried to set it up like, some people just aren't in the right time or whatever, and I can get
Yeah.
that, but he didn't pull it off.
No.
Right. Awkward.
There was a lot of things that were sort of promised by the movie that it didn't pay off on or deliver on, and there were other things that were just like undercooked ideas. Like
Yeah, exactly.
they had things in
or just
there.
paced badly, where
Well, like they had sort of every once in a while they would just get really racist,
Yeah.
and that was sort of a purposeful, like, it's the Old West, of course they're totally racist and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and they kind of, most of the time they sort of lampooned it, like with the whole shooting gallery thing. Was,
No,
they totally lampooned.
they always lampooned it, but
But then with the whole Indian sequence, like that felt wrong to me. Like when I have no idea what. I don't know if they were actually speaking.
They weren't.
Anything. I'm almost certain they weren't, because
they
at one
weren't.
point Seth MacFarlane says Mila Kunis.
Yep.
Yeah, which
yes,
means
he did.
fine.
Yeah, which was just.
that's in the trailer too.
Yeah, it's a little gag, but it also felt really offensive.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have just been legitimate with this whole,
No, because they were talking about how Andis Seyfried's eyes were basically Chinese. They were so small.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that's like, if they had, because the golden standard of a funny Western that has like a modern kick on top of it is Blazing Saddles.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Blazing Saddles did racism to
yeah.
to smithereens in that movie, and did it successfully because
Yeah.
they committed to it and they made it work.
Yep.
That's really, I think, what is missing the most from this movie is the commitment. It's like Seth MacFarlane wrote it and he starred in it and he directed it, but he forgot to
Act.
he forgot to make it funny.
Yeah.
Like he put it all together and he successfully made this movie, but that sort of, you need that kind of step back, the ability to like look at what you're doing and say objectively
Yeah.
and say, this isn't gonna work, or
Yeah.
we need to edit this down and make this a short that we put out on the internet because this isn't.
Because as it is, it's a series of SNL sketches
Right.
instead of a feature film,
And like the whole, like, I you can go through and list everybody in the cast, but it's like wasted.
Sarah Silverman.
That Sarah Silverman, Giovanni Ribisi plot,
Yeah.
so wasteful, so stupid. It's all it is what you see in the trailer, and they set it up at the beginning, and then they disappear from the film for 40 minutes,
Yeah.
and show back up to like just do a thing or two.
Yeah.
I felt like Seth MacFarlane and Charlize Theron were in the majority of the film, and the rest of the people came on for like a day or two and shot some things. Like
Yeah.
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson did a bit more than everybody else, but all of the major cast members.
Quite a lot of it looked like it was shot out of sequence. Just like the next shot would be like, whoa, that looks totally different.
scene-
Like, people just appear from nowhere.
The scene at the end where they're like, "Yeah, he's dead." Like
yeah. And
they're
then
the
it's
only
like,
two people in the shot, and then
Suddenly
there's
there's a town full
hundreds
of people bustling around, and
Yeah,
it was bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Bad editing.
Again, do you think that's just down to first director type, or is that his first? I think.
He's directed other
Okay,
movies.
yeah.
It's his first like starring role. I really think that this was a just something that it feels rushed. It feels like they had some good ideas and some good concepts, and it's a movie that, I mean, the trailer sells it.
But it's smaller than you think it's going to be from the trailer.
Yes.
In the actual film, it's all in this one little fake town with only a couple of shots where he's anywhere else, like the farm, the train, and the Indian thing. I can't think of much else.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles is bigger, and that's insane because
Yeah.
that's a tiny movie. Like,
Yeah.
that's just a basic Western. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I'm not trying to beat up on Seth MacFarlane or make the movie out to be worse than it really is, but it's just
There's some fun in it.
It-
Yeah.
there
it just
is.
kind of collapses under its own weight a little bit.
it's so it doesn't commit to the title. It doesn't commit to any of the ideas that really stick and really sustain it.
Yeah. What if after about 40 minutes in, it felt like it was like a bunch of like jokes and gags put on index cards, and then the film was like, how can we string these together? Like where does this card go? You know?
Yeah,
Well,
insert
because
plot here.
there's no real people in it. Right. His parents aren't real people. We don't see them at the end. We don't care about them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that everybody gets set up.
The tension about the Liam Neeson guy towards the end is totally fake, because she hits him over the head with a rock. It's like, well, why not just kill him? He's a murderer anyway, and she's a tough girl, and like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
it was like
weird.
fake tension after that, you know? It's like, why not just finish
Because
it?
it's the way of the West, and that's how they were playing, I think, on the stereotype of being like, well, a woman is not capable of these things. With that whole misogynistic standpoint too on it, it was like,
Yeah.
we're in 1882, women can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, really, I mean, I can't think of any jokes that were better than the ones in the trailer. And the ones in the trailer, like, not only were they the best, but when you see the trailer, it pretty much ruins the movie for you, because you know what the next sequence is going to be.
Exactly.
Like, you're like waiting, okay, well, they haven't
exactly
done...
what's coming.
We haven't gone to see the Indians yet. We know that's coming.
Yeah.
Like, when's that going to happen?
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to stretch this out for another half hour.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to go to the Indians before we get to Liam
And
Neeson.
there's no meaningful before and after it either. Like, taken in the film context, it's not any... There's not extra stuff around there, you know? My example is like the block of ice that you see in the trailer landing on the guy. It's kind of gross, but like there's literally nothing in the film before or after that. That literally is, you see the whole thing in the trailer.
And I think that things that, I mean, you could chalk it up to the difference between animation and live action, but in animation, you can get away with that. You can get away with things being complete nonsense for, you know, an hour and a half if you want to. And with a live action movie, if you're gonna have a character that lives for the entire movie, there has to be some kind of a connection with him. There has to be some kind of a grounding in reality to make the comedy work. Otherwise, it's just jokes. We're just telling jokes.
Just telling jokes, folks.
and gags.
Just telling jokes. Step right up.
Yeah.
You know, what a prize. Did you guys see Belding? Did you see how fat Belding was?
Oh, he's got
Oh,
so fat.
wow.
Mr. Belding.
The medicine man.
Yeah. He's the guy that gets hit by the bull in the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's in the trailer too.
Yep.
So that's A Million Ways to Die in the West. Hope you enjoyed our review. We sure didn't enjoy the movie, but check out our other reviews here on YouTube and over at DaleMaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.